I'm starting to record.
Hello, Scott.
Hi, Perry.
I'm glad to have you here with us again today.
Me too. You just found out something new about my website you didn't know, didn't you?
Yeah, it's in Thai too, Scott. It's very good. And
Well,
many languages.
up at the top of the main page is a language translation window. And if they click on that, it'll drop down a menu of all the languages, and they can put their language on there like Thai, and it'll change the writing on the website and all the pages to Thai, and people can read it. So that'll be good for your people who can't speak English that are in Thai. They can go there and really explore the website better. And if you need to translate how that translates Thai, if it's a little bit off, you can fix it for them or help them. I don't know how good the translation program is because it translates almost every language on earth. If from what's written and shown on the website, it won't do that for the title of the books or the contents pages of the books because they are separately, they're actually images of those in the website, so it won't change those. It changes text that's in the website pages themselves. So articles would change, and things underneath the illustrations of characters in the emerald doorway, that will change to Thai so they can read who they are and what they do and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that's important for them to know that, because otherwise,
Yeah.
I tell you what I could do. I could share my screen for your entire audience. I'll show them how to use it.
Okay, very good.
Now, can you see me okay, Perry? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So here I go on Google. Then I'm going to just punch in this parallel time. Now, here's the main page. Can you see it okay?
Yes, yes.
Now, if you look up here at the top, see my little cursor? It says select a language. If your people click on that, this is what happens, and they can scroll Chinese, Japanese, Greek, Hungarian, German, French, Arabic languages, all the way down to Thai. And if they click on Thai, it's going to change this language into Thai.
It's very good, Scott. I will let my people know.
See, everything's in Thai now. And if I go to one of these sections, like the book section, all this is in Thai now. Okay?
Okay.
Now I'm going to put this back into English language here. This is a nice tool to have on a website so that people around the world can read it and explore it in their own language. So now we stop sharing, so that will be on the video for people. Like an instruction that says, hey, guess what? You can just go here and put it in your language.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
From my channel, many people from many countries, so now they can select their language.
That's correct. Yeah, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, each time we do a show, because you've asked me to do these every week, that's 48 shows a year. They're not really radio shows per se, are they? They're like radio shows, except without the radio. There are YouTube recorded things for YouTube, and then they go up on your channel, and then people can get benefit from those shows and listen to them and do some of the things I suggest they do or demonstrate for them to do with me on the shows, which is why I do the things I do. And I'd love to take people a lot further out in the grand multidimensional universe, but they need to have a grounded understanding of what it is we're doing. They can get that from exploring the Say Ray's Agenda book with the special technique section at the back that involves the hue and the new ray in the hue and how it is retiring evil as an experiment or negative things subconsciously driving people out in the universe and on Earth. And then there's
your book too.
Yeah, I'm glad you have it. The text in it, the special technique section at the back is for the prologue and all 29 chapters, a separate technique for each one. So when people discover how to do that, and for Thai people, you can go to the website and read it in Thai. You can, translate the book because you can speak and read English and Thai and help people with it. to understand how that section's used. And here's the thing that's of great benefit. As you work with them about those techniques so they can get clear about them, it's going to benefit you too. Because
Right.
it stretches your imagination, your IQ goes way up. That's a good thing. Comprehension ability goes way up. You just start remembering how to do things better and how to reach people and how to help them and all that. It just becomes almost common sense. So that's a good thing. So this day, this is August 15th for me and probably August 16th for you, right? Oh, you have your mic off. There we go.
Today is 17.
17, so it
August.
must be 16 for me then.
Yes.
Yeah, 16. You're right. 16th and 17th for you. You're a day ahead. You're morning in Thailand Friday, and I'm about almost, what time is it now? 7:36 p.m. the night before on Thursday night.
My time is 9:36.
A lot of people don't realize it, but people get jet lag from traveling in jets, not because of the difference around the world. They think it's because of traveling through these time zones. It has nothing to do with anything. You're just moving through the air from one point to another. That's not what causes jet lag. The powerful jet engines that create these thousands of revolutions per few seconds in these engines create these big vortices, these electromagnetic fields, which fatigue people, which is what jet lag is caused from the jet engines, not from traveling from point A to point B. It doesn't benefit airlines to tell people that their jet engines are going to make them tired. Ruins their business. So they know it. And people in science know that jet engines, as they're used today, are not the best for people. They use a lot of dinosaur fuel to power them around, jet fuel, and they pollute the air. And they're neat and all that, but they're not destined to stay with us in the future of this planet because they're polluting. Not just fuel polluting as it's burned, but electromagnetic pollution, EMF pollution for people. Greater science and other worlds have eliminated the problem of electromagnetic frequencies that can be harmful to people. And there are many people on Earth today that are exploring and understand already well the dangers of electromagnetic energy, microwave towers, cell phones, all this stuff. The turbine thrust of engines in a jet, the vortex they create to power the jet forward, and things like that, makes it's very hard on people. Makes us stronger in a way, but eventually it can tear down the nervous system and the immune system. So it's always good if people, when they go on a plane or somewhere, if they know about doing the hue, and they do it while they're on the plane to send out a field of energy that's good for everybody on the plane, no revenge, no anger, no hate, and send it out of the plane, down to the ground, around the world, that will protect them from those fields of energy while they're traveling. I don't get jet lag, for instance. There's a reason. Sometimes there's a thing called sorbitol, a certain sweetener in certain sugar-free gums. Like Trident, I think, has. I'm not promoting any products, but certain sweeteners like that will kill bacteria that you might breathe in or inhale on a plane from somebody who's sick. It'll prevent you from getting colds and flus just by chewing on that when you're traveling in an airline. A lot of little things people don't know. So it's all interesting. It really isn't pertinent to what we're talking about today, but for some reason I wanted to throw that out there. And then we'll get on to why we're here. That's just incidental stuff. I don't worry about any of it. But because I'm aware of it, when I travel, I'm not affected by it. It is ignorance of it that makes you vulnerable. That's why I brought this up. So it's good if people are aware, conscious of this, and then there's a part of their being that just shields them from it because they are consciously aware of it. That's why being consciously enlightened or consciously aware is so important to how a being lives on this planet, how to connect with beings from other worlds, how to remember how to get out of your body, how to travel to other places, how to remember things and recover so much that was taken from people on Earth before they were compelled to incarnate here. They didn't do it of free will. And if they believe that, they're suffering from a subconscious program that's influencing to believe that it was God's will or somebody else that sent them here to have an unconscious life on earth with no memory of who they were before. I can tell you this, I would not honor or respect any God who demanded that of anyone, because that's a tyrant. It's the nature of tyrants. There have been extraterrestrial influences here on this planet and always have been, both mostly benevolent, but not always, sometimes tyrant races that have had some influences and footholds on this planet in small ways in the past. They've never been allowed to control and dominate this world because Earth is under a treaty. It's under an off-world treaty between gigantic world systems out in our Milky Way galaxy that goes back in history at least 500,000 years, dealing with this planet. And it's because of a treaty that came about at the end of a war 500,000 years ago, there were, you could say the tyrants were defeated, not destroyed, but defeated. And there was a treaty created. Part of that treaty involves the planet Earth. And why it has been stultified and stuck like it is, with people and not knowing that there's beings in other worlds that are far more advanced than people here, human beings that are far more advanced than people here. And otherwise, people on Earth would know, as they should rightly, that they did not originate on this planet, that human beings never originated here. They never developed on this planet in the first place. This is kind of some of the information that I tend to want to work with Ambassador Turellian, who is the ambassador of the Say-Rays race, a human race several billion years old, that our form of human beings get genomes and DNA from originally, long ago. Which means that in this form, this type of human being, at this level, was no different really than it was on Lemuria, or 1 million years ago, or 10 million, or 100 million years ago out in the galaxies. Because human beings evolved a very long time ago on other worlds in other galaxies and were brought here when this world was capable of supporting life. After the dinosaurs, that experiment was made extinct. Then human beings started coming here from the stars, colonizing small areas. And if you go back 50 million years, there were wars on this planet, nuclear wars. Never destroyed the Earth, destroyed the people. But that's way, way back before Lemuria, because at the time of Lemuria and Atlantis, there was no nuclear war. Some people are, without knowing it, misleading people to tell them there was a nuclear war at that time. This is not true. Lemuria was sunk not by nuclear weapons, but by the flipping of the planet's poles. And that had nothing to do with nuclear weapons. That had to do with what happened in galactic history in our solar system 6 million years ago, with the destruction of a world that is now circling in the orbit of a planet between Mars and Jupiter that people on Earth call Maldek, and they sometimes spell the last letter with a K or a C. But it's where our asteroid belt came from. And scientists don't understand why it's there. They can make up all kinds of theories about it. But intelligent ones, probably the classified ones that can't talk to people, know it was a planet. Because extraterrestrials they have a treaty with would have told them. So you see, people on Earth have been kept from knowing about all of this since the National Security Act was created under President Truman in the United States in 1947 after World War II. It allowed them to classify weapons developments and other things they felt they needed to do in their struggle with the former Soviet Union, who could develop those weapons without changing a president in the White House every 4 years. So they had to develop a system that could continue to fund and support reverse engineering extraterrestrial-based technology that would not be affected by who was in the White House or which Congress people were there. They created a second government that is not elected by people, that was designed to survive a nuclear war and still run what's left of the world. That was their thinking. So when they got this classified system underway, they were able to keep a lid on all knowledge of extraterrestrials and keep it away from people. And if people tried to tell the truth, as we all know, over many decades, information would come out into the world press and news that would make them would how would you say it? Put a spin on the true story so that people would doubt it. That's all they ever had to do. Just make people doubt whatever person comes forward and tells the truth. And then the majority of people will just say, oh, that's just another nut. No, forget about it. Go about their day, go to work, pay taxes, and really not dwell on it at all. Most people are kept too busy on Earth living this way to really explore and investigate waking up what was taken from them. What they were made to forget subconsciously without their consent or awareness before they came to this planet. I think what people around the world are beginning to be intelligent enough to wake up to ask themselves is, how could they have been made to not know who they are before they were born here? Is that really normal? Because I don't think there's a person alive that really believes that's normal. Way down deep, they know it isn't. They know something was done somewhere. They can't put a finger on. They can't remember. You could say that people on Earth in a classified arena did what they did for good intentions. They're not all bad people or anything, but they feel they need to keep classified, especially weapons developments and things like that, that involve extraterrestrial technologies that have either been given or recovered that were downed on Earth. They want to keep that quiet because other countries and other things on Earth that are diabolical, terrorists and other things, would love to get a hold of that technology, even bad countries. So they keep all that technology very, very hush-hush. And that's okay, except that nowadays, most people in those classified arenas really don't want to do that anymore. It was designed from day one, even under Truman, that one day they would tell the truth to all the people. It was started that way. It's just been carried away way too long. They don't know how to disclose what they spent so much money and time suppressing. Their encouragement to suppress this information was a manipulation done to them by tyrant extraterrestrials, using a technology they did not know and didn't see coming. When the original CIA was founded, it was being influenced in this way. So was it in Russia and China. You can't blame these people, I don't, for why they do what they do, because they can't help themselves. When you lie and deceive anything around you for money or power, or even when you think it's self-righteous, it distorts the human nervous system. Lying and deceit is a negative energy field. It's an artificially created charge, emotional charge, and it affects their nervous system and their bodies in ways that are harmful. You see, I wouldn't want to be in the classified arena of people. I feel sorry for them, compassionate, because a lot of them are doing things they don't want to do anymore. So my work and friends from out of town, meaning people from other worlds that are very kind and wonderful, are helping in the background behind the scenes to get these people the way that they need to disclose safely, non-destructively. And I think that's the answer they've been looking for a long time, how to do that. Most of this technology we enjoy today, right after World War II, that just sprang out of the ground, fiber optics and computer technology and silicon-based or quartz-based silicon wafer chips that used for computers and all that kind of thing, and molecular layering of circuitry. They used to use all these resistors and diodes and capacitors. Now it's all in the etched surface on a molecular level. That all came from reverse engineering extraterrestrial computer things they found in downed craft. Very simple. Fiber optics were wound around the inside of the hull of an anti-gravity ship of almost every race that uses that technology. That's where that came from. Running speed of light inside a tube. That's not new. It was new to Earth at the time, but it's not new technology. So, and the good side of it is that out of that came products that they could spin off out of the classified arena to certain favored people for fiber optic cables under the ground, satellite microwave, and all the other computer-related things that people enjoy today. Microwave ovens, all that came out of their research into these things, made available as commercial products here and there. So there's the good side of that. However, The technology and its source was not given to us by the good guys from other worlds. The treaties originally made under former presidents long ago after World War II, they were blackmailed into signing treaties with tyrant ETs or imperial bloodline extraterrestrials who gave them certain things, breaking an off-world treaty to do it, because they didn't care if we gave up our nuclear weapons or radioactive materials. The good races out there will not let us play among the stars ever until we give those up, because they're illegal out there. They just pollute. They're just destructive. They don't use those kinds of energies. You look like you're very busy there with something there, Perry. Got to turn your mic on.
I'm trying to take notes because I will have to talk this to my people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just keep your mic off. We have her generally turn her mic off just because of the limits of Zoom or Skype technology. Basically, to record something that has high quality, 2 mics can't be on at once. It's just a frequency thing. So when I start to share with people, then Perry will shut off her mic until we need to converse back and forth for her show. It's just done for the quality of the recording, that's all. No other reason. So that would bring everybody up to date on that one. The reason I think I bring this background up often, at least initially in each show, is to give people a little more of an understanding. Because in the books I've written, they're written in such a way to provide a experiential understanding for others to get grounded, and to remember, to recall how they used to know how to think and move and imagine on a galactic level, on an interplanetary level, on a multidimensional level, and that this is normal for most what people on Earth call soul, what the most advanced races in other worlds call Atma. It's like a sphere of energy, not of molecules and matter and protons and neutrons. It's finer than that. And it's conscious, and it cannot be destroyed by any weaponry, nuclear bombs, or anything like that. Bodies can, but not the Atma. And this is who we really are, this spherical shaped energy as human beings. Not human bodies. That's just the body the human being runs. So when a person begins to remember and recall that they are a being running a body and that they aren't this body, a lot of things change for them quite quickly in awareness. Enlightenment and all that comes from knowing what you are that isn't physical and being able to move it around the universe while your body is still alive. This is the key. Because if you wait until you die to go to some heaven, there's no guarantee you're going to get there. And there's no proof anybody that went there came back and told everybody it's true. No one has such proof on this planet. So it just really means that people should be awake enough, raised in vibration enough, to begin to use higher faculties that tell them right discrimination, that show them right from wrong, good from bad, lies from deceit, truth from deceit and dishonesty, so that they can chart their own course safely into remembering who they are, even while they're on a planet as backward as Earth is. And it's very backward. It's backward in how it's run with governments. Nobody gets along, really. Should be one government here run by the most wise beings that don't lie to people. And there's, on other worlds, they don't even, most of them that I know of, don't use money at all. It's illegal. It's banned because tyrants use it to control people and program them to its use. Interestingly enough, I don't know what you call the dollar in Thai, or a piece of money with all of its color on it. A dollar bill in the US or a dollar in Thai, that's just paper. It's made from trees with ink on it. There's no money or gold or anything behind it. It's just paper. And people are used to swapping it for things, so it works. But there's really nothing there. There's no value in it, other than what people have been grown up to believe. So they continue to work with it. On other worlds, they've left that behind because it holds people back from evolving. So we have to work with it on Earth as a practical thing, because otherwise you can't buy a meal or go to a grocery store. Nobody will let you take anything. So we have to work with it for now. But there will come a time on this planet when no one will want it. And I mean everybody living on Earth won't want it at some point and won't need it. That will be a day to experience how a world can change that dramatically. So my work is really about helping people understand how that process of that change, something new, is underway for this planet for the first time in galactic history. And that's extremely important. Otherwise, people are just left with doubt and theory and fear and speculation and faith, but no experience. How can anybody be wise, divinely loving, and know what to do on a planetary or intergalactic scale or interdimensional scale if they don't know who they are or what's out there? See? So people on Earth really have unusual new territory to walk into in the days to come, along remembering and waking up to all this, because everybody on this planet, every Atman that's running the body here at one time, long ago, knew this stuff. So you have to say, well, what happened to us when we knew this stuff to where we are on Earth now, not knowing anything? People on Earth mostly believe that when they grow up here with their parents and their teachers and the PhDs that teach in universities, non-classified, that living on Earth not knowing how you got here is normal because they have nothing else to compare it to. But it isn't normal. It's not, because there are countless millions of other world systems with human and humanoid life on them in our galaxy that know their other lives, that can get in and out of their bodies, can fly in spaceships as well, who have photographic memories and use 100% of 100% of the brain they have, not the 5 or 6 or 10% they say we use on Earth. It makes no sense. They know we don't use the majority of our brain here, but it's not because it's not developed. It's because certain genomes on the DNA have been shut off. They're like switches. And if you misuse science and shut switches off on DNA in these body forms, the being running it can't work some of their higher faculties through that form. Kind of sticks them, gets them stuck. They can always, if they are aware, travel beyond the body and go around and know stuff without having to depend upon the body's shut off genomes that won't function when they push certain buttons in the brain. It just doesn't work. But you can learn how to do it without relying on the brain for any of that, because the mind is not in the brain. When people imagine something, they don't see it in their brain like they believe wrongly. The being itself that's running the body sees it out in the universe somewhere, because they have the ability as a being to do that. So when you imagine a beautiful waterfall in the mountains with the hummingbirds flying around, and you sit and see that, you're actually seeing it somewhere. Could be in a parallel dimension, could be on another planet, could be in the astral plane or one of the higher planes above the physical universe. And people should know where it is they're looking, but they don't remember this. So there's more to this waking up process than just having a spaceship ride or meeting extraterrestrials. It also has to do with remembering how a human being, not the body, is kind of multidimensional in nature. And it can travel between dimensions, parallel dimensions, higher dimensions, in the Atma form that doesn't require that it apply or be subjected to the law of physics at all. Because the Atma is not made of physics or physical molecular energy. One thing that helps people, I think, understand if they know anything about the Large Hadron Collider in CERN, Switzerland, where they crash particles together at near the speed of light down this 5-mile long, whatever circular deal, underground, very high power. They can crash them together to see what kind of energy emissions they produce, to see what energy is doing. And they found this energy, which they proved exists, that's behind all matter, even in the void of space. And it doesn't react in the way they expected it to, like the law of physics. It's different, because that energy supports matter in material worlds like this on Earth, but it isn't made of protons and neutrons and electrons. So it's not going to abide by the laws of physics as those scientists understand it. Since they don't know what it does, they just call it the God particle because it's omnipresent. Even in the physical universe, it's all through the void. The supposed vacuum of space is full of this energy. It's not a vacuum at all, except it doesn't have air or oxygen, but there is energy in it. And the Atma rides or moves on the current of that energy. And people, when they remember that, begin to understand how to do that. That's why sometimes in these, towards the end or towards the other latter half of these radio shows, I will do a little guided journey, an co-creative imaginative journey. Use the imagination properly for the benefit of all life, which is how this is done. Which means it's for the benefit of everyone on earth, classified, unclassified, royal families, it doesn't matter. It has to be for everyone. When people drop their fists from fighting the good fight against the bad guys, the negative energy has no way to get into their field of energy anymore. It just doesn't affect them, even on Earth. It's quite miraculous. So when a person understands that there is one right way to use the imagination, and one way only that will work, not creating karma or cause and effect, what you put out comes back, good and bad. To get above that, to get beyond that, the imagination has to be utilized consciously by each being to put out only that which is of uplifting benefit to all life, not just life on Earth, not biased and prejudiced, all life everywhere in the whole universe and all the dimensions upward from the physical universe. Because a normal human being in other worlds thinks and lives like this. Their children grow up like this. They're brilliant. Their IQs are in the 10,000 range compared to a person on Earth. And the thing is, people on Earth have the capability under the right conditions to become like that again. Not for the first time, become like that again. So when I work with people through these guided visualization things, if you want to call them that, I'm really out in the universe seeing and doing what we're doing. And I'm assisting people to use their imagination and exercise dormant faculties, exercise them, make them strong, to see and know things again for themselves out in the whole multidimensional creation. As you know, Perry, we've been on journeys all the way up to the higher worlds, above the void known to the Buddhists, in dimensions that exist above that. We've been to other planets. And the more we do it, the more you're going to become aware you're really doing it. That's where the change takes place in a being. They start to remember they used to know this stuff, and they go, oh my God, how could I have forgotten that? I used to know that. That's the mystery of it. Because most people are terrified to look at what was done to them that put them on this earth with no memory. It was not a pretty thing. And so they're subconsciously terrorized to recover that, because the beings who did it to them says, if you ever recover this, we're going to do it to you again. This is a lie. They don't have the position or the power to do that anymore. But people on Earth are left with this subconscious terror. So friends from out of town, kind beings from other worlds, and very advanced master teachers that mentor them are involved in a process now to help people on Earth recover this in a gradual way that will not imbalance their lives, in a way where they can continue to expand and wake up their higher abilities and keep the world safe and keep things non-destructive as this change takes place. It's quite an undertaking. Nothing's ever been attempted on a planet this size with 7.5 billion people before. But I can tell you that the process we're undergoing now is not reversible by any power on this earth, any power in the higher dimensions, any extraterrestrial race, good or bad. I can tell you that the benevolent races are on board with assisting this process quite consciously for the first time in galactic history. They were more kind and willing to stand aside and not get actually interfere in Earth, except for one problem. By breaking an off-world treaty, a tyrant race did interfere with people here, especially leaders, to manipulate them to go in certain directions, breaking an off-world treaty and interfering with real free will of people here. And so much so that they would and already tried to blow this planet up in nuclear war many times during the Cold War with the former Soviet Union. And these race of beings I work with stopped that, shut down the launch computers, because we as a planet of people, unconscious people, do not have the right to blow this planet up, because that would affect hundreds of billions of other life forms, not to mention all the mammals and plant life on this planet. It would affect people in parallel dimensions on this planet people don't even know exist. And it would affect life in our solar system in negative ways and out in space. So I can tell people factually, the races from the stars, the good ones, and it's a huge organization, are never going to allow this planet to have a nuclear war. Classified people already know this. How do you tell that to a whole mass of people in a safe, constructive way? That's why they need help from other fellow kind beings from the stars who are much more advanced technologically and spiritually in a way than people on Earth. When they talk about Prime Creator, the source of all life, they actually know it by direct experience. It's not faith or belief to them. They communicate with that source. They can go back and forth to that source. They understand it consciously. Human beings are supposed to know where they come from. It's not supposed to be some big God up there that no one can ever comprehend, and you're its little minion it created to run around and do its bidding, to worship it blindly. No. That's not the real nature of the source behind all life at all. There are lots of beings that acted like gods between that source and Earth that got in the way in outer space to play God by making slaves of people like human beings. It's all in our past. Rome, Egypt, Samaria, Yucatan, Mayan, all the things that people say, oh my, this great history. They were all tyrant royal family bloodline tyrants that ran those cultures and sacrificed people. That is not normal human thinking. What's really unusual is that the good cultures that have existed on this planet under treaty, like Lemuria at the beginning of Atlantis, and many of the things that went on before that on this planet in its real history, aren't even mentioned in the history taught to people here. It's all the tyrant, Egyptian, Rome. Samaria was a reptilian mining colony. They brought slaves here, made to worship them and sacrificed themselves to them. Mayan and Yucatan and Aztec, they were all mining colonies of human beings who were brought here as slaves, set up with a head priest to control them, and that's how it worked. This is not easy for people to digest in a culture where they've never been shown or taught any of this growing up here. Not openly in any culture on this planet. But it's clear that as we speak, something new is underway that provides a certain protection for all people here to get this disclosure underway in a non-destructive manner. So that's the only reason that I do this show. That's the only reason I publish books. It's the only reason I have one website, a major website, paralleltime.com, and 3 others that will be live soon that support that website: Total Spectrum Publishing, Total Spectrum Productions, and Total Spectrum Media. That are all about this. They're being done to disseminate or get out a certain kind of energy field to this world that's good for everyone. No one accepted. So you see, people in classified arenas know what I'm doing. I'm not a threat to them. They don't come to my door. Nobody tells me to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not threatening them. They know that. They also want to disclose. It was part of the original plan to do that anyway. So now what we've got to do is get it happening without destruction and vengeance and hatred and anger and all that nonsense. Because that's all sponsored by tyrant extraterrestrials. And why would people on Earth want to listen to that? So they can shoot themselves in the foot and say that's God's will? No, that's not good. Nobody should be listening to that kind of whispering in their ear subconsciously. hatred and anger and revenge. That just creates the same conditions over and over again. So you see, when people on Earth take back the right use of their creative imagination and contribute with billions, hundreds of billions of other beings who are in this process, then this Earth will be transformed quite rapidly in ways people will never they'll just be gasping, in wonder of how it could be possible. It is possible. People on Earth need to be given back the free will they once had, because they don't have real free will here. Anybody that believes that, who can't remember how to get out of their body and doesn't know who they are, they're deceiving themselves. They're in self-denial, because to have real free will, a being has to have a photographic capability, photographic memory. They're telepathic. They can speak with other beings mind to mind as well as with vocal cords. They get out of their bodies. They know what the source is. They know they're capable of comprehending the supreme being. It's not something so big that a human being can't comprehend it. You want to know why? Because the energy that makes up each individual Atma is made of exactly the same energy as that source itself, identical in every way. Same faculties of creation, same higher everything. On a smaller scale, like a drop of pure white energy in an ocean of this same energy. Call the ocean the supreme being. We are collectively comprise what that is, all through creation. It has a center way up high in some other dimension, and it's all through everything as well, and in each of us. We are that source. And people need to remember this. Otherwise, they're never going to be able to create properly and only be kind and wondrous in what they create for the benevolent good of all life. That's what the normal function of a normal human being really is. We are destined to be trustworthy, conscious co-creators with that source. Not co-slaves, co-worshippers, or anything like that. Co-creators with it. In fact, people on Earth have the potential to contribute new ways of creating the whole multidimensional universe with that source, from all the suffering and experiences and lifetimes they've had. When they get free of it, they begin to see new ways to do things. And they're like spiritual scientists. They contribute that with others who are like that out in the universe. And this whole kind of silliness with good and bad, right and wrong, evil, can be done away with permanently, even on this planet. As impossible as that seems to people now, the more they remember, the more they recover, the better off they're going to know this is true for themselves by their own direct experience. What I'm going to do is send out some tones. It's a way for a human being on Earth. Since I have working vocal cords, I can use it. But it will work if you imagine the sound too, even if you don't say it out loud. When the imagination goes into this first half of the word human, HU, it sets up a frequency through the pineal gland in the center of the brain. People on Earth don't even know what it does. They know that it secretes melatonin. When you go to sleep at night, serotonin is manufactured, and then your body goes to sleep in a trance state, keeps the heart running and blood working and all that, and breathing. Well, you're out. People on Earth don't realize they're out in the universe exploring when their body's asleep, and they don't bring back the memory because they've had no training from life, from birth in this life to know how to do it, to even understand that it's real. So they don't. It's conditioning, that's all. It's not good conditioning, it's suppressive tyrant conditioning is what it is. See, a normal human being is not meant to have a subconscious mind at all. Anything that's subconscious means that you're not aware of what's in it. And if you're not aware of what's in it, anybody can mess with you. Right? So that's the idea of when people have, and on Earth they're taught they have a subconscious mind. But the psychiatrists, psychologists, and physicists and scientists here, particularly in the non-classified arena, because they're not allowed to know that extraterrestrials exist. They can have 10 PhDs and teach in a university, and it's like the blind leading the blind, because they just teach people more theory, what they believe is true, what they don't know for a fact, but what they believe. So people grow up thinking about doubt and fear and theory. They don't know anything. They're not certain about anything. They can't decide definitely about a spiritual direction because they're in doubt all the time. That is not a normal human state. That is a manipulated, subconsciously influenced state. So, waiting for that phone to stop ringing in the other room. It's silly how people interrupt things in their ignorance all the time. It's usually just nonsense. It doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But when a person begins to discover or uncover or recall or remember more of what they used to know before they were born here, their journey to enlightenment is really well underway. That's important. I'm going to begin this, sending out this sound. People can do it with me wherever they are listening, for their own benefit, for their own experience, and not my experience, their experience, because that's the only thing that will be of any value to them. I can tell people hidden truth all day long, but unless I demonstrate it and work with them a little bit to get the knack of how to use their imagination properly and begin to remember this stuff, they're not going to do anything. They're going to sit there and look on the internet and look at everybody saying this might be true and that might be true. And maybe that is, but maybe it's not. Classified people say, oh, hey, we know about extraterrestrials, but we're whistleblower. Don't believe us. And the non-classified scientists say, we think there might be life on other planets. How ignorant is that? How dumbed down is that thinking? To be stuck on a planet with all this education, wondering if there's life on other planets because you no longer know for yourself? That's the condition of this planet, and it's very backward. Great potential here. The beings that are asleep and unconscious there have great potential, but they need to recover who they are before they can contribute that potential to anything other than let's blow ourselves up and go to heaven. That's nonsense. There's no such thing as any God up there that's going to accept anybody into any heaven that blows their world up. Would you want such people running around in heaven? I wouldn't. Think about it. Responsible, kind, loving, disciplined people in serenity of being are the people that can step out into the universe and play among the stars, among other realities as well. So people of Earth need to recover first a lot of what has been taken from them, not with their true free will, without their consent, somewhere in the past before they were born here. As soon as a person starts to, they can have great faith in any religion they want, and any savior they want. It's fine as long as their heart is true, as long as they're really sincerely loving towards all life. But as soon as they start doing this, my faith is better than yours, or I'm going to kill you stuff, they're just practicing a form of black magic, really. They're just ignorant. They're keeping themselves stuck in a very low state of consciousness, grounded to this planet with no memory of anything. It's negative, and negative begets its own negative conditions. Spiritual law, really. So if people want to step outside of that, in whatever faith they're in, they can work with the hue, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the highest form of prayer. Why? Because it works with a pure first sound. It mimics that sound, and then it ties the person directly into the omnipresent sound, divine spirit, omnipresent word of God, whatever they want to call it. And it makes it a direct experience for them, not just faith. Faith is good if it leads to experience, but it's a terrible place to end up if it does not, because they die just as ignorant as they were born. They don't know for sure. So I recommend to people to apply to whatever they believe the first word that is mentioned in the book like the Bible, but they don't know what that is. It's not a written word. It's a sound. The Sufis knew of it, the hue. And it didn't originate on this planet. It was brought here from other worlds and then from other galaxies and then from way up in the dimensions long ago. Tyrants don't want people knowing about it because it'll help set them free. So something is underway that allows us to be provided, assisted to people for them to begin to work themselves out of this trap they're in on this planet through their own co-creative efforts. If they'll do that, they'll get the assistance from other beings they need. If they will step forward a little bit and show that they really want to know who they are. Asking for a free ride from some god without doing any homework to improve oneself is a self-deceptive trap. And no one should be doing that anymore. If they love whatever belief system they're in, at least apply the original first word to it, so it'll bring real light and life and sound and vibrancy and consciousness into it on this earth. Real remembering and recall. They might as well meet the beings they believe in, don't you think? They'd be surprised to find that many of them, if they did really meet them, would head them in a new direction that will really give them direct experience. That's what a spiritual master should do. Most people on earth playing that role don't know how to do that, or they'd be doing it, either intentionally or unintentionally. So I would say for the most part, people on earth trying to help people like gurus and teachers are doing the best they can under circumstances that they cannot control. And in a lot of ways, they don't remember themselves, how they got here. So it really helps people to work with the hue because it's free. It costs nothing. There'll never be any charge from me for people for me to work with them to share this with them. I'll sell books because there's no other way to get them printed and shipped to people on this planet. But I never charge for all these radio sessions or anything at my website or videos of conferences I've conducted special presentations at, radio shows I've been on, videos they can watch were made from those presentations. There's never any charge for that at my website. Or the hue of my voice sending out the hue in 3-part harmony in a continuous loop for almost 24 minutes so people can work with it, hear it, and get used to it, get a charge from it. There's no charge for it. There's no money involved. I think that is important that people understand this about my work. It's not about being above anybody or anybody thinking that I think I'm better than them. I do not. I just know that most people don't really know who they are, or they would be like gods and goddesses, working in a common cause to co-create new ways of doing things for that source itself. And are people on earth doing that? No, they are not. I don't care what religion they're in. They're not working together towards any common good. That means something was done to them to mix them all up. In my view, because of the condition people are on earth right now, they will require the assistance of vast numbers of beings from other worlds to fix this place in time, to straighten it out before it self-destructs, even from global warming. People on earth don't have a collective free will to change this in time on their own, not anymore. That should be obvious to anyone. So the earth is not headed for an Armageddon or a destruction. That destiny was altered permanently about 7 Earth years ago, out among the stars. So don't look for a nuclear war or any of that stuff. You're wasting your time completely. Start looking for answers, solutions to the great mysteries that people have pondered. There are answers and there are experiential solutions to them, all of them. A person on earth has to be sincere enough to want to step up to bat and exercise their higher faculties and wake themselves up. Because the beings that I work with are not tyrants. They won't force it on people here. But they will work with them, particularly when they're out of their bodies at night, and help them to overcome these fears and terrors they're suffering from. So when they wake up in the morning, they're somehow different. Little bit by little bit, they're different. They change. And they change more, and they keep changing, and it's not reversible. once you step through the first word behind all creation, when you connect with that again, the process is not reversible. Not by any devil or Satan or any negative being from the stars or anywhere else. It was set up that way in the beginning. What do I mean by that? It means that if people start connecting into that, all the negative stuff they ever went through starts to get undone in their life as a being. Not the body, the real them. That is done to raise the vibration into areas most people on Earth are not accustomed to experiencing. This form of telepathic communication will shut down subconscious negative influences, turns them right off like a switch. And then it puts the being into what's called serenity of being, a normal state for a normal person. And in this calm state, they begin to remember things. They begin to have flashes, insights, because it's a natural vibratory state for a being uninfluenced by subconscious negative programs. So the more people work with it, they'll find, as I have long ago, that it comes with a certain form of protection these days for people on Earth that began about 7 Earth years ago, a little over that now. And they'll begin to find that they have the safety and security, the privacy of their own home or a place or consciousness to begin to co-creatively contribute to and work with this for their own benefit, for their own experiential awakening. That's why I do this. I think before Perry's asked me if I take people on a little journey, this is how this is done. If any of you are laying down or sitting, you might be watching this or listening to this. Well, you can't yet because it's not on the air. But when you do, when it's live on Perry's YouTube channel, get somewhere comfortable, somewhere quiet. It's not going to be disturbed for an hour or two, night or on a weekend or whenever. Get a set of headphones or something, or be able to play this back, and go on the journey that I've shared with you here. Listen to this show, and then go with me on the journey I'm about to describe for you. Doesn't matter how real it seems to you or not right now. What matters is that you begin to see what I'm describing. Because when you do, even vaguely, I can assure you, you're really seeing it somewhere. You're not making it up in your brain. There isn't any motion picture camera or projection screen anywhere in the gray matter in the brain between your ears. Does not exist in there. When you imagine anything, it's not the brain that's doing it. You, the being that runs that body, is doing it separately from that brain. The sooner you become aware of this fact, the more you're going to be conscious of doing it. Because when you're conscious of who you are as a being, and you know you're doing it, you're waking up. This is a very healthy thing for physical bodies because it raises the vibration rate of the body, and the DNA and the immune system is all bettered by it because there's no negative in it at all. None. Nothing hidden, nothing covert. Right out front in the depth of eternity. Because that's what we begin to plug into when we do this. I've been doing this on this world for more than 38 years, knowing it comes from off planet. Began when I was a young child, when I had my first contact with extraterrestrial, benevolent, kind humans. Instead of being abducted by little grays, I was very lucky, I might say. There are no more little abductions by grays going on this planet. That stuff ended 20 years ago. What you see and hear now is about past experiences people have had. But that kind of thing is no longer occurring. Something has changed on this world and off-world. Let's move tyrants away from this planet. Now what we have on Earth is a bunch of people that have been subconsciously mismanaged to unknowingly head the country and the world and everybody on it in a destructive direction. They can't help themselves. So, you see, when I say they need help from people from out of town, kind help, I really mean it. They do. We all do. So, once you're rested in a sitting down or lying position and your eyes are closed, you take several deep breaths. And while you're doing it, everything that bothers you in life, your age, your sex, governments, where you live, your future, the future destiny of the planet, finances, health issues, everything. Just for now, when you do this, put it on a shelf in your imagination, in your room where your body is. Just stick it up there. Just know you're putting it aside just for this journey. Because you'll pick it all up back again when you come back. We're going to go into a little thing called bilocation. This means your body is going into a rested state, just like you put it in when you put it to sleep at night. And the pineal gland will secrete melatonin and create serotonin, and then your body goes into this trance state, except you're conscious. like an advanced meditation. And you're aware the body's sitting there peaceful, but you're hearing my voice and seeing what I'm sharing with you at the same time. That means you're really out of your body seeing this stuff, but you're aware your body's there. That's called bilocation. Direct projection is when you actually leave the body in this way, and you can be aware the body's there or not, but you're fully conscious, and you move from one point in creation to another instantly. Now you're here, and next minute you're standing on the surface of Mars. That's direct projection. Bilocation involves the fun of maybe traveling in a spaceship across the stars, or going through an interdimensional doorway on one. You get from here to the Pleiades, 500 light years away, in under a day, for instance, things like that. The more advanced beings travel both ways. They can go out of their bodies and do this, and they can travel in ships too. So be aware and be awake. Go back to the point at which I sent out those 12 or so hues on different pitch levels, rising in tone. I'll do it again here really briefly, because it sets up a certain condition. And then I'll ask you to do something in your imagination. Just go with it. Can't harm you. There's nothing negative in it at all. I'm going to do two more. Be above your body in your imagination and look down on your home, wherever it is. Mobile home, a home, apartment, sitting in a park, by a river, doesn't matter. But see your body sitting there in this peaceful, trance-like state we call sleep. And look down on it as if you're looking at it from, 15 feet above your physical head. So you just see your head from the top looking down. This is you. This is the real you. If you had a mirror here, you could see that you were spherically shaped energy. Now, like the astral body looks human, that's on the next dimension above here, and it's limited to the astral plane. No, this is the Atma, the real you. It has a structure, has a white central core, white light, surrounded by layers of teardrop shape of self-effulgent lights, means they're self-luminous, they're not matter, and each teardrop shape is a specific higher faculty. And there are layers of it in different colors to a violet exterior with a golden energy around it. A pure Atma, a pure being. And it has a direct connection to all other beings and to all other realities and dimensions through one of these little teardrops. That's what we really look like without a body. That's the real human being, not the human body as it's known on Earth. Just see your body down there. It's fine, it's safe, it's protected. Now I want you to be above the planet. Easy to do in your imagination. You could see all the way from outer space orbiting the planet, just like the space shuttle or the Hubble telescope will look on Earth and show you what Earth looks like from outside in space. And you can imagine it because you've seen it on videos or you've seen it, Hubble images or Hubble telescope from galaxies and other realities, or, you've seen photographs of Earth from the shuttle spacecraft or the space station or something. So you know what it looks like. Only now you're seeing it for yourself orbiting the planet. You don't need to breathe oxygen in this form. It's pure energy. Look around and you'll see the moon circling the Earth in some position around it, and way off in the distance, the sun. You're going to see that you are joined here when you're up. If you look around you, you will see there are other spheres hovering here with you. I'm one of them. Perry's one. So you're actually here while your body's down there in the trance state we call sleep, but you're conscious. This kind of technique begins to develop the ability or reawaken the ability in a person to begin to be able to bring back clear memory of where they go at night when they're completely out of their body and it's in a deep sleep. So in the morning when you wake up, you begin to remember what it is you're doing. After all, it's you doing it, but you don't remember it, see? So we want to recover that in this process. There are beings out there with nothing to do with negative entities or suppressive tyrants who are volunteers, you might say, to help everyone do this, and they know how to assist you well. If you're approached by them, you won't have fear. They won't manipulate you. They'll probably remind you of things you once knew, and you'll feel very comfortable and familiar with them. And they'll help you. And as time goes on, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to start remembering, because like, oh my God, how did I forget that? Oh yeah, I used to know about other planets and stuff like that. Of course you will, because you once knew it. I can't give you what you already have, but I can assist you to remember it through the hue. There is a new consciousness or ray in this you, this omnipresent, primordial first sound behind all that exists. It existed like we did before the lower dimensions were even constructed, where the positive and negative and the experiment of evil was put into practice. That kind of thing is being retired, like the dinosaur. Because this new consciousness in this energy field inspires people now to create only that which will be of uplifting benefit for all life, everywhere. And to start viewing and thinking of things on an interdimensional, intergalactic, interplanetary scale, like you're supposed to be. That's what this is for. This is the only reason I'm motivated to do it. I came to this world more than 65 years ago on a mission to help world leaders at that time make a decision to change this planet, which they were terrified, they refused. And they were tricked into making a treaty with tyrant races at that time that gave us technology without requiring that we give up nuclear and radioactive materials. Can't blame these people. They didn't know what was being done to them. They were being manipulated to make these decisions against their better judgment. I don't blame them. I know what was done to them. And it can be undone. It's being undone as we speak. So you see, I don't have any fear about the future destiny of this planet, none whatsoever. None. And the rest of you should be living like this without fear of the future for yourself, your families, or the destiny of this planet. Because there are things going on here now that you're not being told, that certain people on Earth know about, and they want to find a way to do it safely, not just for themselves, but for all life. And they're being helped to do that. You're going to see that and experience it anyway, so stay tuned. Be above the Earth. Look around again. See the stars in every direction you look. You're going to see there are other beings here joining us. Very kind. They're not threatening. They're not manipulating you or subconsciously influencing you. This is purely telepathic, one being to another, the way you used to know how to do it. Let's take a little journey from here. I want to take you to a ship that's stationed in the ice rings of Saturn. It's a mile long. It's cylindrical shaped. It has oval windows all the way around the upper edge of the upper half of the hull, bridge control on each end. It's not like ships that you've ever been shown in science fiction movies or Star Trek, because these craft do not work on radioactive work cores. There will never be a Star Trek future like that, because space is already occupied by far more advanced races that banned that kind of negative technology a long time ago. And they're not going to allow us on Earth to take it out there. Ain't going to happen ever. If people on Earth want to play among the stars, then we have to grow up and accept changes that are good for all life, so we can be accepted into an alliance of worlds and be given the technology freely to go and play in those kinds of arenas, in the physical universe and spiritually out of our bodies in other ways that other people enjoy. We're in a circle. There's more than several hundred of us right now around the world. Maybe they're listening to the radio show. Others are tuning in from different planets, people I know. You're going to see a suddenly bright white flash of light, and we're going to be sailing through space past Mars almost instantly. Jupiter, Saturn with its rings, which are ice crystals, ice particles. Some of them the size of skyscrapers, some of the size of a marble, that make up these rings. And there's a ship in the middle of them. And we're going to go down towards that mile-long silver blue metallic ship. And we're going to enter right through the hole, because we're in the atlas. This isn't physical. And you're going to find yourself in a lounge area, looking out through these 6-foot-long, 4-foot-high oval windows at the ice rings of Saturn. And in this area, this vast chamber in the ship, a lounge or meeting social area, are humans from other worlds. Kind people, not tyrants. There's some humanoid people that are similar to humans, a little different. But they're all smiling. They know we're here. Some of these people, all of you used to know and called friends. Some of them have been looking for you for a long time. This goes back into galactic history toward the end of that great war I spoke of earlier, 500,000 years ago, where beings like humans were captured and made slaves and dumbed down and implanted and all kinds of stuff. And then that war was over, but many people were still missing, if you catch my drift. So this is just to look around and see all these beings standing there, not approaching, not harming you, not threatening you, to feel the uplifting vibration of their compassionate love and respect for you. You're supposed to have that kind of respect for them. And if you don't, it's because you don't remember. So we're all here to help you do that. It's the only reason. You can look at blue glass top tables and egg-shaped white chairs with blue cushions and people sitting in them. Kind of a blue plush carpet flow to the ground. And the air, the oxygen in this ship is very rarefied. The vibration in the atmosphere is almost vibrant, palpable, like you can touch it, because it's a much higher energy field here amongst these beings than what you experience on Earth. And it's good for you. From here, you can experience yourself as a spherical energy being, and they'll see you in that form, as well as see your physical body manifested as an energy body they can see here. Look back from here to your body on Earth and send this energy, this field, this awareness to your body on Earth through the top of your head, wherever you are. And let it come out through you. This is pure spirit kind we're talking. No negative and positive, way beyond that. Come through you for the benefit of all life on this planet. Let it continue through you. Don't try to hold it or bottle it up. Co-create with it. Be willing to let it benefit the transformation of this planet. You then become co-creators to actually help it happen with a vast host of beings from elsewhere, not from Earth. In this place on this ship, you're going to see all of them starting to do this you. They're just stopping and doing it as a way of saying hello and respect to you in a pure communication channel, a protected channel. You could send one back to them. It's very easy. That round whole tone carries a body of holographic information to and from these beings that cannot be distorted or misunderstood. And through this, you get the real nature of who they are and their intentions towards us. It's wondrous. It's good. It's not bad. Then in the next moment, find yourself hovering above the planet Earth, where we were before. And then see yourself darting down into the planet's atmosphere and stop to hover above your head. If you're laying on your back, a foot or two above your head. If you're sitting up above, below your ceiling, but above your head. Sending the same awareness of energy and experience through your physical state of consciousness so it can remember. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Right here. This is the way this works. This is the way beings get around the universe. It becomes more tangible and real to you the more you exercise it. Because even though you have these faculties, if they've been shut off and you haven't used them because you're not aware of them for, 100,000 years of lifetimes, it takes a little bit to get refamiliarized with them and become confident with their use again. That comes with a little bit of practice and time, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a rewarding, enjoyable experience. Certainly beats the heck out of not knowing how you came to be on this planet or how you got here or what your real purpose is for existing, because all that's been deprived you. It's time that is returned to your field of awareness. So this is the reason I do these weekly things with a Perry. She asked once, she contacted me and I said yes, so it's all good. It's good for everybody. You're going to discover as you work with this recording, once it's live on YouTube, that it will begin to affect you in good ways. Subtle at first, but unmistakable. So I guess that would conclude that part of our show for tonight, Perry. Can you get your microphone back on?
Okay. I had great experience, Scott, in the time it took us somewhere on the journey.
Oh, great. Good.
I've seen a lot. Wonderful.
You want to share that with your folks about your own experience?
Yeah, I saw like universes, all planets, colors, lights, I mean, because I have a limit of words, but it's all wonderful, Scott, very beautiful.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you once knew how to do and took it as like getting on a bus. Getting on a spaceship between the stars on an anti-gravity spaceship, that's many hundreds of millions of years old, that technology. It is not new. For people on Earth, yeah, but no. Out there, no. It isn't. Planets out there that I've visited personally, directly, don't have disease. They don't have microscopic life attacking them inside. They got rid of it all. It's the beginnings of the way life evolved under the worlds. It's not necessary. They don't raise masses of animals to kill them and eat them because they don't eat them. They don't need energy that way. They get it from the universe. They've got their normal human system working and genomes turned on, and it's a different ballgame altogether. So on Earth, people need to recover who they are in a balanced, gradual way, swiftly by any standard that I've ever seen. To even do it in one lifetime is unheard of in the galaxies, but that's what's happening for people on Earth now. Speed it up. I mean, the whole thing can be done in a very short period of time. And as this spreads around the world to everyone, then collectively this planet will make a decision of free will to join member races among the stars. And believe me when I tell you that what is available to us then goes way beyond Star Trek, way beyond it. And the only way anybody's going to ever understand this again is to experience it for themselves. My work is all about assisting people to do that. That is the only motivation I have for being on this planet. You might say that the mission I came here to start many decades ago is now underway in a new way with greater protection and certain kind of momentum in the universe that I didn't have available to me then. So it's better to get underway and get done, even if it's late. It wasn't my fault that it's late. That's a long story. I do mention how that came about in several experiences I share in the presentation I conducted at a special conference I helped put together in Finland. And that's one of the main videos at my website. Remember at the beginning, I showed people how to go change the language into any language they want on the website. One of those videos is right on the front page. And if they watch it, maybe you could watch it and help people in your group. When we do this group thing at the end of the month, it would be good if we could talk about that presentation there. We'll help them.
Yeah. Perfect.
Because they may not speak English or hear what I'm saying, but you could help them understand what it is I'm saying. Because I demonstrate and work with people right in that conference. One was a scientist that's got 80 books out. He's like Einstein. Was there. The Hopi Indian elders were there. A professor from Washington State University that's a foremost expert on the fourth phase of water and how it's a telepathic medium. The water in human bodies is not H2O, it's fourth phase water. Very big difference. Things like this. These were people that were there as co-presenters and fellows who I hobnobbed with for 2 full days privately before we conducted a presentation for the public for 2 days after that. That got recorded. I brought a video team over there and we recorded the presentations of all the people. I produced those videos and gave it to those people at no charge, including my own presentation, put it up on my YouTube channel, because then that presentation becomes available to everybody on Earth for free. Very important they understand this. Okay then, I guess we're good for today, right?
Scott, I would like to thank you in Thai way. Thank you for all experience, thank you for all good things that you bring to us and to my country too, and everywhere in the world who's listening to this show. Thank you so much.
And I think you're welcome, and I thank you because you're co-creating this change on this planet by working with me this way. You're actually courageously contributing to that change. You've stepped forward to do that. You didn't know that a few years ago that you would have the chutzpah or whatever they call it to do it, but you do. And more is waking up, so it's all good. It's all good, Perry. Well, I wish your audience the best, and all I can say to everyone right now is work with this video when it becomes live, and then pleasant dreams. Out there and on Earth.
Okay, thank you.
Bye
See
for
you next
now.
time. Bye.
See you next time.